Welcome to Drunk on Games, where we
Cheers, drink, play!
Welcome to Drunk on Games, where we
Cheers, drink, play!
Jelly.
We are playing Legacy of Dragonholt, and we are in town day 4.
Day 4 after we saved the prince.
After we saved the prince.
From his uncle.
Welcome. And got pretty rich from it, too.
Moderately.
And a little bit famous.
It's got except for 10
more
meals.
They more than doubled our goal. I think
For
that's
us,
called rich.
for us, it's rich.
10 days of food at the inn.
No. She also said, I will cover all of your food and board at the inn.
So, we are reading for the next day. 5248. The next day is gray and rainy. The village seems to retreat into itself. The streets empty, but the tavern's full and loud.
Yay.
Braxton leads a patrol into Eventide Forest, from which she returns looking grave and shaking her head. You each recover half of your maximum stamina.
Oh, yes.
Yes.
Good. I'm not below half anymore.
Wait,
I'm back.
and?
You each refresh your activation token.
You son of a bitch. I still can't reason. All the other days, they let us rescind one of our disabled skills.
Not quite every other day, but almost.
Well,
The first few.
ugh.
And now it's just like...
You mean the time when it was damn near impossible to run out of stamina? Now they won't do it?
There's a lot more reading, so we'll see. You are awakened early the morning after by the voice of Scala, the orc shrine attendant. Harvest! He bellows as he walks the streets, shaking a dried gourd as a sort of rattle. The spirits have spoken, and it is time for the harvest. The whole village springs to life, doors flung open, and people rushing about on errands. Sapphire seems to be going at a full run in and out of the kitchen, pausing only long enough to shove a ham steak and a pile of eggs at you. Eat up, she calls. The harvest has started. After your meal, you step outside to find most of the village gathering at the fields south of the Swan. You arrive to find Lady Regina atop a tall bay horse wearing a crown of golden wheat and holding a bean hook in one hand.
Rich horse.
Yeah. She raises the bean hook above her head and the crowd grows silent. It has been my pleasure for many years, she says, her voice trembling only slightly, to watch my people work together. To watch my people work together as one at harvest tide. The work you do together now secures our future. Regina guides her horse to the edge of the bean fields, then leads down with her hook and plucks the first bean pod. An autumn wind ripples through the field, making the pods rattle. We thank the spirits for blessing during the harvest, she calls. Everyone cheers, and the workers pour into the field. Braxton and Rochelle join the workers among the crops. Regina, the stable master, and a smaller group of villagers move toward the village green, some carrying stools or baskets. Miriam and Sapphire return to the Swan, babbling excitedly about what to make for the feast. So we have a couple options here. Join the workers in the fields. Expedite the harvest with runic magic. Needs rune skill.
Damn it.
Assist. You have a rune skill?
Yeah.
Oh, that's right. You wanted these runes on your blades.
I'm a magic knight. Devotion and runes.
Yeah, all right.
Assist with setup on the village green.
Not bad.
Join Miriam and Sapphire in the kitchen. Avoid the harvest as much as possible.
I do like those last two, or making your runic magic work.
I want to try the runes and see what happens.
Okay.
Alright. Flip that sucker.
You draw out your growth rune, holding it in your cupped hand as you approach the closest bean plants. You feel the magic within the rune reach out to the crop field, and the plants begin to respond, like fingers brushing against an unexpected hand in the dark. You feel some other magic within the field merge into your rune's effect. Taking up a basket, you walk down the rows as each plant leans forward and politely drops its bean pods for you. The closest workers point and stare, and soon quite a crowd is gathered as you reach the end of your row with an overflowing basket.
Damn.
Show off.
2 young farmers, a man and a woman, both human, run up to you, each holding a basket. "Do that again," says the young man. You reach out with your rune again, and again feel the field's own magic respond. And this time the 2 farmers walk ahead of you, filling their baskets in short order. "Spirits, save us," whispers the young woman. This is so much easier." Soon the farmers have fully adopted you and your rune, leaving you to perform your magic while they do the lifting and carrying, laughing and making up jokes about you and your rune as they work.
Did make fun of us?
Mark 2 points in social practice.
Yay.
Right.
Socializing.
Mark 1 progress in heroism,
Yeah, heroes.
which is now full.
Now we can do what with that?
Nice.
You each gain 1 experience,
Sweet.
Right.
and your fame increases by 1.
Yay.
Sweet.
Around midday, Sapphire, Miriam, and a few others appear in a mule-drawn cart with enormous pots of porridge, baskets full of bread, and pitchers of clean, cool water. Children run up and down the rows, delivering food and carrying full baskets of beans away to dry while the workers pause to eat and rest. And then you're right back to the harvest. Working together with the villagers, you finish the first field before sundown. Your back aches despite your magic making the process easier. You stagger with the other workers into the village green, where an enormous feast has been laid out. Good, plain, filling food, and delicious, given how hungry you are. So you got food.
Yep.
Did we just spend the whole day on this?
I have no idea. I'm about to find out.
sounded
64.76.
Oh my goodness.
Day 4. Just cross it straight out. What?
The harvest continues for 3 more days.
Oh my goodness.
Work gangs spring up in the village green, threshing the beans from their pods and packing them for storage through the winter. The village goats are set loose in the bean fields, eating their fill of the remaining plants, and a team of oxen appears to plow under the fields. Harvest ends with a great bonfire.
Well, there's the bonfire I was promised.
Nice.
And a feast on the market street. No venison this year, notes the old woodworker Theodore. Her ladyship won't have anyone hunting in the forest right now. Why, this reminds me of a story.
Oh,
Hey.
story time.
Read entry 3385. The day after harvest ends, it rains. Dawn is clear and warm, and life returns to normal in the village. Braxton reports for duty with the village guard, and Miriam returns to her shop, explaining that she really must get ready to open tomorrow. Tomorrow is a market day, she explains. The town is already overflowing with people, and I can't miss out on the business. The other villages in Countess Regina's territory had their own harvest to reap, explained Sapphire as she serves you muffins and berries in the surprisingly busy common room. But they all bring their goods here for market. I'm going to get myself a goodly amount of that fine Evesmore wool and see if anyone has any silk thread. Celeste visits you that evening to reminisce about happier days and share a bottle of elven wine. Sapphire invites herself to join you, and you wind up toasting old friends and new friends and everything you can think of before finally collapsing in your bed, tired and happy. You each recover half your maximum stamina. You each recover 1 skill.
Thank God! Read it again!
I like the pause.
You each refresh your activation token.
So join us next week when
The chapter of the story ends here. When you're ready to begin the next chapter, read entry 7996. It doesn't say to mark any time.
Yeah, it never
Alright.
marked time or anything, so
The next morning is bright and cool, with a taste of autumn in the air. Wow, did we just skip a season?
maybe.
The voices of merchants and market goers drift into your room from the already busy market street. You head downstairs to find Miriam, already dressed and nervously sitting at the breakfast table, jittering and pushing sausage about on her plate. "Look who's here," says
Sassafras.
Look who's here, says Sassafire. Wow.
Sassafras.
Look
Sassy
at-
fire.
Ooh.
She is sassy.
To you.
I'm keeping that one in like the pockets of a note for a character's name. I like that.
Look who's here, says Sapphire, placing a pitcher of apple juice on the table. Don't fret, dear. I'm certain Braxton will be down soon. Who's fretting? Says Miriam. I'm not nervous or anything. It's her first day open for business and a market day at that, explains Sapphire. Although I don't know why you're opening so soon. You can't be all ready for customers yet. We already had a delay because of the harvest, explains Miriam. I should have been open on the market day a week ago. I can't miss today's market as well. The gnome stands and paces back and forth on a bench as we sit down to a breakfast of sausage, fried apples, and golden cakes with honey. Where is Braxton? I should go up and get her. You're not married yet, chides Sapphire. Give the young lady her space. I suspect you won't be disappointed. I hope not, says Braxton from the stairs. Her usual leather and mail are gone, replaced with tall, freshly shined boots and a brilliantly white shirt under an embroidered vest.
Ooh.
Her hair has been carefully piled up behind her head, held in place with a shiny silver pin. She pauses, smiling as she sees the look on Miriam's face. That is not a guard uniform, manages Miriam at length.
Really?
I thought I'd make an appearance at the shop this morning and help out, says Braxton, settling down at the table and carefully covering up with a napkin. It's your first day. I want to do something special. She accepts a plate of food from Sapphire, then glances at Miriam shyly. Do you like it?
Oh.
Miriam breaks into a smile. I like it very much. If at least one of you is a gnome.
Yep.
Alright. 8304.
Are we in this argument again?
Oh my gosh.
Are we starting a new brawl?
Wait.
Human walks into the gnome tavern. Gnomes don't exist!
8304. You inquire if anyone has any plans for the festival tomorrow, with a knowing wink to Miriam. Sapphire laughs and places a hand on Braxton's shoulder. I think your engagement has been long enough, don't you? If I understand correctly, we either hold the wedding tomorrow or in half a year and halfway across the country, says Braxton. She squints, peering down at Miriam, who smiles as innocently as she can manage. Although I'm not at all certain that I have understood correctly, I'm not sure I believe half of Miriam's story about the gnomish festivals. They're your gnomish festivals too now, dear, says Miriam. Father and brother will be there, so it's time to get hitched. Outsiders are always so surprised, she muzzles as she cuts herself a serving of sausage. It's like there never had a few dozen caravans and a few hundred gnomes arrive all at once, hold their traditional festival with dancing and games and all sorts of fun things, and then vanish with the morning mist the next dawn. You move them every year, explains Braxton. Most people never have seen one before. Sapphire shakes her head. It's one of the great mysteries, she agrees. Read 2816. The door opens with a jingle of bells and a number of wool-clad humans come stamping through, kicking the grime of the road from their boots. Excuse me, says Sapphire, and she moves off to assist the new customer. I will need to report to the guard post later in the day, Braxton says Miriam. Twiggle wanted to talk to me about something important. I'll make do without you, I suppose, says Miriam with a smile. Somehow. 4 options. Ask Miriam about the grand opening of her shop. Option 2. Ask Braxton about her position with the village guards. 3. Ask about Miriam and Braxton's wedding. And 4. Quietly finish your breakfast. It sounds like Sapphire knows about the engagement.
I mean, you expect
little
Miriam to
more
keep her
than
mouth shut?
Seriously,
Yeah.
she's never shut up.
She didn't tell us directly about it.
Maybe she tried to later, and we've just already known.
Oh, okay. So 4 options, which has I can read it again.
I'm actually quite curious because we stumbled into it. Would they have told us? Was there a story point in there somewhere that is when we were supposed to learn officially.
A4.
Like I said, probably if we interrupted, like I swear, it probably would have been something like that.
Yeah. 2 or 3 for me. What about you guys?
Yeah, I was thinking 1 or 3.
I was thinking 3.
3.
3 it is. Gabe, you were the most decisive.
Yeah.
Yep. Oh, says Braxton. Didn't Miriam invite you?
Thanks.
Wow.
Wow.
TI.
I thought you were going to, protests Miriam. I thought, never mind. Braxton shakes her head. I'll do it now. We're getting married tomorrow afternoon,
Tomorrow.
gushes Miriam, grabbing Braxton's hand and leaning toward you with her face aglow with the willow glow. Reception to follow at the Swan, of course. And we would be very pleased if you would attend, says Braxton, squeezing her fiance's hand. See, like, if they're having the reception at the Swan, then Sapphire obviously knows.
Yeah.
Yeah.
For sure.
Oh, Sapphire knew.
Yeah.
Sapphire.
The whole be patient bit was her going, I told her to dress up and I know it's coming.
Yep.
That's what
Okay.
moms do.
Read 1656. You finish your breakfast and stack your plates for Sapphire to collect later. As you gather your things to prepare for your day, you see Miriam and Braxton come down the stairs with heavy, bulging bags. Thanks for letting us stay here, Aunt Sappy, says Miriam, leaning in to kiss her aunt on the cheek. But I'm ready to move it into my new place.
Oh.
Oh, of course, hun. You're both welcome anytime, says Sapphire, resting a gentle hand on Braxton's forearm. Take good care of my niece now, she says with a wink. Braxton smiles and nods. Always. This encounter is complete.
Cute. Happy morning.
No time passed.
Yes.
Dude, we just woke up.
Yeah.
Well, first off, we know there's a market today. We know there's a bonfire tonight or tomorrow, it said.
Tonight.
No.
No, it's
They talked about a bonfire at the end of...
Oh, it was.
And the harvest. Harvest is ended.
We saw that,
Oh,
yeah.
so it already happened.
Here,
oh, okay, well.
We're like 4 days later.
More
And what have
bonfires!
you marked down?
There is the
Because this is day 4.
Spirit Orchard,
Oh, I want to go there.
and then otherwise we just have the mine as far as I know.
So we want to go to the smithy. We want to go to the orchard. You kind of want to go visit the apothecary shop.
I'm orchard.
And,
The orchard? I thought he said this shrine.
Shrine is the 5th
It's
day.
a Spirit Orchard.
Oh, okay. So the orchard is the one.
Yeah.
Yeah, shrine is tomorrow.
which one's
Well,
the
the orchard
guardhouse?
should be probably later.
Guardhouse down here. Guard station.
Yeah, guard
Sometime later, probably.
station. All right.
No. They
Going
could-
to the apothecary shop.
All right.
Oh boy, he's gonna put us to work.
As you pass inside,
Yeah,
you find the shop decorated with sunflowers and sprigs of lavender in every corner, and crowded with patrons and the curious.
Sunflower.
You see Braxton emerge through the back door, carrying a wooden crate full of glass bottles, which she carefully unpacks onto a high shelf. Miriam is standing on the counter, talking in rapid-fire sentences to 2 patrons at once, explaining how her elixir will relieve an elderly human woman's back pain, willow bark and spring tonic will reduce swelling and dull with pain, and how her cough tonic will cure an orc man's son's cold. Hyssop and elderflower and honey. After a few moments, Miriam hands over small glass bottles to both customers, in exchange for jingling coins, which she tucks into her apron. Then she bounds off the counter and jogs over to you. Good to see you, she says. Isn't this great? How can I help you?
Oh boy.
Offer your assistance running the shop.
I knew it! Don't you dare!
Might get free food now that you have
No.
business.
Do what you must.
What are the other choices?
Browse the potions and elixirs in the shop.
Elixir.
That's it.
I like that one better.
Remember who got us in this bar fight?
No, we have things to do today. Let's just get the potions and get out of here.
God.
$76.99.
We'll come back on
The shop smells of warm herbs and with a metallic tang lurking beneath.
My kind of place.
Miriam gives you a friendly wave from her place by the counter as you look through the racks of potions, elixirs, raw ingredients, and supplies. Purchase some potions.
Yes.
Offer Miriam alchemical ingredients, which we don't have right now.
Nope.
Request to use Miriam's alchemy equipment.
Tempted.
Or, just leave the shop. Okay, so we're going to use alchemy stuff. So time passes, You step through the door into the long, narrow back room that serves as Miriam's laboratory.
Yes.
Racks of strange liquids bubble and boil against one wall,
Boiling trouble.
and herbs hang from the ceiling to dry. A pair of cauldrons, one iron and one copper, rest neatly on shelves near a large hearth, ready to be put to use. Directly under the room's round window stands a workbench, its tools all neatly arrayed and stowed, with a set of stairs built in for the convenience of gnome-sized folk.
Nice.
It looks like Miriam already has a number of potions brewing, but there is still plenty of equipment available for you to make your own. Brew healing potions.
Yeah.
You may brew up to 3 healing potions for 25 gold per potion.
Okay. See?
The other ones require extra items, which I don't think we have. So, we brew healing potions. We can brew up to 3 for 25 gold apiece. Shall we just get 3?
Sounds like a good plan
Yeah.
since most of y'all eat
I don't have a healing potion. Yep.
Who has it?
Who has them right now? Cool, brew 3.
Alright.
Alright, this encounter is complete.
Yay.
Alright.
Got a healing potion. It's a minus 75.
Minus 75.
You're right.
So, you taking us to the orchard?
Taking it to the orchard. 1120. Orchard.
It's also funny because he's taller than me, normal in real life.
We don't know that.
Haphazard rows of apple trees sprawl west and north of the village, heavy with sweet red fruit. The trees are twisted and only somewhat tame, their older and thicker branches propped up by wooden poles or ropes. Here and there, a dangling charm, carefully placed monument, or carved message adorns the tree. 5 days less, yep, 2447.
I assume the 5 days are left was 5 time or less.
Sorry, yep, 5 times or less.
I'm like, boy, what happens to the orchard later?
It grows and dies.
Burns to the ground.
Workers walk the rows of trees, some carrying sacks, other ladders, still others shears and saws. The orchard foreman and a human woman with skin as brown and wrinkled as an overwintered apple approaches you. Are you here to pay your respects, or are you looking for work? I'm still curious about the respect part. Like, you can pay respect. Or,
Reality.
oh, so that's 1. What do you mean by pay respect? 2, here to help with the harvest. And 3, came to visit the spirits. Or 4, just passing through. Spirits?
I believe that's what we remember from last time when we explored the orchard, because we already asked about what paying respects was
We didn't
about.
have that.
Yep.
No, last time.
We did.
Last time we were here, we asked about paying respects.
I thought we didn't. And just went to the spirit.
I don't know, but it's your
I
choice.
thought we had. I don't know. I could be misremembering.
It has been a few
And
days.
an enemy.
And then a few more for harvesting.
I think we can always come back for respect, I guess. 9184.
And they got hit by a mace, or was that before?
Yes.
I don't remember. Foggy
You were
memory.
maced.
I don't know. Everything's so fuzzy.
9184. The foreman nods. No one's working out on the western side of the orchard today. If you want some peace and quiet, she says, then she leaves you to your thoughts. If it is day 4, 8757.
Someone's already there. Ah, my spot's ruined. I'm going home.
Oh, 87.
Miriam is there, meditating by running in circles.
I can imagine that.
My shop's open, my shop's open, my shop's open, my shop's open, my shop's open.
My
my
wedding's
shop's
tomorrow.
open.
My wedding's tomorrow.
Both at the same time, by the way.
8757. You walk among the trees, reading wooden placards proclaiming names, birthdays, dates of death, and other details of those interred in the orchard. Here and there, a memento dangles from a cord on a branch or rests in the bowl of a tree. After a while, the calls and sounds of the orchard workers fade away. The drone of crickets and the singing of birds combine to make the grove feel like another world, a place removed from who and where you once were. Mark 1, progress in spiritual meditation. You pause beneath an enormous tree, one twisted and gnarled with age. You see a young woman, Rochelle, the Countess's surviving daughter, kneeling beneath it, her eyes closed. If story point J1 is marked, yes.
Yeah.
Yes.
2129. Yay.
Oh,
We finally had something. We
Finally,
actually had
yeah.
a story point.
2 1.
Feels good.
Feels real good. Feels like not wasting a day. 2129. Yep. 2129. Philip appears at your side holding a small silver lantern. This is my family's tree, he says in a low voice. Rochelle and I came to pay our respects to Sonia. You can join us if you like. He walks to kneel at Rochelle's side, then carefully places a candle in a mound of soft earth, lighting it from his lantern, which he then blows out. He takes his sister's hand, and they both stare at the candle flame. Join them during their visit, or take your leave. I say we made it this far, we might as well join them.
Okay.
Yep.
We're gonna talk to the spirit guys.
Family now.
We are family.
Brother and the sister and us.
No, and tree.
Spirits. 2576. You kneel down by Philip and Rochelle. Philip reaches out and takes her hand, closing his eyes. Hello, Sonia, says Rochelle. We miss you. She shifts, looking at you for a moment. Then turns her green eyes back to the candle flame. Then she introduces you. Philip's savior, she adds. He almost joined you, you know. Oh, that gave me shivers. Give our love to Father, says Philip. Both siblings bow their heads as silent reigns. For an instant, you feel as if another person is kneeling in the circle with you, and then a wind blows through the grove and snuffs the candle. Phew. The moment is gone. You stand and brush dried apple leaves from your knees. Mark 1 progress in spiritual meditation. Time passes, the encounter is complete.
Ooh, we finished spiritual meditation.
Good.
Spirituality.
As long as 5 progress is marked in spiritual meditation, you may learn any of the following skills: awareness, devotion, or willpower. At the cost of 1 experience per skill, you may learn a new skill at any time.
Okay, does anyone care? Because if not, I want to go to the smithy and ask about that cave.
I second that.
Yeah, it's got a Smitty.
Submit it.
That'll be 2 smitty. At the end of the market row stands a low building with a gray slate roof and a thick chimney. The smithy, the workshop portion of the building, sports clapboard walls, easily open to let the cool air in when the furnace is in use, while brownstone annex hosts what you presume are living quarters, offices, storage, and other necessities of the smithy's trade. A polished silver hammer hangs from a wrought iron signpost outside the front door, inscribed with Dunrar character. A bronze plaque is set into the wall with the same legend written in the common tongue, Fior Brigamal Smith. If 5 or less time has passed, yes. 7743. A hot wind blows around you as you duck into the workshop. The roars of the furnace is punctuated by loud clanging and in and out breathing of the bellows. Is story part N1? No. Go to 4422. God damn it, right back.
Back and forth, back and forth.
Fiore detects your attention to her stockroom, which is directly adjoining the workshop and filled with useful items. Trivets, nails, and horseshoes. Of course, but also swords, daggers, coats of mail, a vicious-looking warhammer, and a wide selection of other implements of the adventuring trade. Or, I'm available for special commission, of course, she adds, idly fondling her silver necklace. Well, Bozrath he's a journeyman. His rates are much more affordable than mine, she laughs. Shall we purchase new equipment? We don't have a war rune. Ask if anything we can do to help, or leave the smithy. Maybe it was the guard station we were thinking about.
No, ask for help.
Yeah, that's right. There's more to it.
but I have an intrinsic hate of asking to help people.
He's kind of like, do you need help?
Is there anything we can do for you? 9888. You want to help? Fiora asks, her eyebrows raising. You understand that my apprentices actually pay me, right? She reaches for her crutch and stands. But I'm sure I could find something useful for you to do. B1? No. 5281.
First 4 is now 1.
This is a lot of short things that just make me run around.
That's a lot of work.
I'll tell you what would really help, she says, stomping towards a rack of shelves and papers. There's a silver mine south of here, past the Willow Grove. I'd like to get it reopened, but there's a small goblin problem. You wouldn't know any adventuring heroes who have some free time, would you? Offer to clear the mine if you have 3 or more fame.
Yeah.
Or, offer simpler assistance. So, let's go clear some mines, I guess. 741. Stop this. Fior looks you up and down before she rummages through a shelf full of papers and forgotten work requests. She crosses to a large table and unrolls an old map, yellowed with age, and delicately places weights on the sides. This is a map of the silver mine, she says. It's said to be the richest in the region, but it was abandoned during the war when all the workers were pressed into military service. You nod, absorbing the information, and Fior continues. After the war, we discovered goblins had taken to living in the mines. With so many of our workers killed or injured in the war, we didn't have the forces to evict the squatters immediately. Now there are so many of them, there's not much we can do. You inquire if there's anything else you'll need to know before you go. And Fior nods grimly. Here's where the rooster becomes the cockatrice. She says, we had the area scouted. The scout said there's one goblin who seems to be leading the others. A great big one too, greater Goblin King. She gestures to the main entrance to the mines. The goblins have fortified the main path, but here, she points at an emergency access tunnel, is well concealed. If the goblins know about it, they seem to give it only minimal attention. That's your route in. You look at the map, casting your eyes along the twisting passage. The mine is a model of efficiency, with a vast majority of the mine dedicated to work and only a few rooms set aside for alternative purposes. 2 rooms catch your eye. The pipeworks and the blastworks. What are the pipeworks? Or, what are the blastworks? In favor of you, we'll ask about the blastworks.
Thank you. I was going to say it, but yeah.
9796.
You spoke out loud with your thoughts.
Those are the areas meant for storing and mixing blasting powder, an alchemic component that was used to evacuate large areas of solid rock.
Yes.
I know rooms like that had a fair number of safety features in place to keep the contents as stable as possible. But you never know how well something like that really works. Well, possibly one well-trained in alchemic arts might know, but I couldn't say for sure. The one thing I can tell you for certain, she stares at you dead serious, leave your lantern outside the room.
Oh?
She holds that piercing stare until you emphatically agree.
Oh?
But I always bring it. Oh, that's
Yeah.
Well, that explains him. What are the pipeworks? Or anything else I should know? Let's ask about the pipeworks. Fior explains, when the mine was originally dug, the richest veins of ore intersected with a large underground river, which kept the tunnels submerged. The mining engineers used a series of water wheels and Dunwar water screws to pull water from the lower levels up and out of the mine. The pipeworks itself are a double safety system, continues Fior, but the backup is down here at the emergency dam. With how long the mine has been abandoned, the dam is likely holding back an entire river. That is, if it hasn't collapsed and flooded the heart of the mine. In any case, if the pipeworks aren't already running when you get down there, you should activate them if you can. Anything else I should know? 1534.
goes to 1534. It just says, go to 9899.
Almost. Fior nods. Follow the southern road out of the village past the Willow Grove. If you stay on the road, you can't miss the mine. And one last thing. She looks at you seriously. The mine has been abandoned for years, and I highly doubt the goblins have improved things. Take care while you're down there, and consider your actions well. It's a very unstable environment. Fior sighs. But remember, we want the mine whole. It would cost the country a fortune to excavate the tunnels again. We'll pay you part of the reward up front to cover expenses. She drops a heavy pouch of coins on the table. You gain 50 gold.
Sweet.
Pen's over there, guys.
You'll get the rest of the reward after you reclaim our mine, says Fior with a laugh. She claps you firmly on the back. Don't let us down, eh? Mark story point B1. Time passes, and this encounter is complete.
Yay.
I would appreciate coming back for real equipment now. Person who's got things left.
Walks back in the door. I'm back.
You forgot to equip me.
Wait, so we're at the mine?
Not yet.
No, we have to leave the town south to go to the mine.
Okay. So do we want to go back for equipment and then head towards the
I
south?
absolutely would go back for
Yes.
equipment. We're pretty rich right now. I think we can afford 100.
So normally I'd read the part about the regular smithy, but since
We know what we're doing.
yes, we're here, we
Go
just were
straight
here.
to buying equipment, please.
7743. A hot wind blows around you as you duck into the workshop. The roar of the furnace is punctuated by loud clanging and
skip to this one.
the in and out breathing of the bellows.
Oh, she had to remind us
kidding.
about the hotness in this place.
We know it's hot.
All right, she directs us to attention to the stockroom. All right, purchase new equipment.
Yes.
Requires you to spend 25 each.
Oh, okay.
That's fine.
Or
Just mark the
25.
100 off.
Actually, you each, yeah, 25. Yeah.
It's minus 100.
1856. Brill, why don't you lend a hand, says Fior. And the young apprentice comes jogging over to escort you through the stockroom. With his assistance, you sample the wide variety of bucklers, bracers, blades, and bludgeons, and make your selections, choosing a variety of new enhancements to your arsenal. Mark 3 progress in combat training.
Ooh.
Time passes. This encounter is complete.
Oh. We just buy ourselves combat experience.
It's a lot of experience.
Yeah, once.
It's like, that should be about
No, we got
No,
two
we
more.
got
two more.
Yeah.
Yeah, I was the only one to earn us any before.
He kept
I
moving us away from
I got the
combat
physical
training.
training.
Yeah, you just made us do like squats and shit.
Knee muscles.
Not as interesting.
Oh, and time passes. Right.
So, it is only halfway through the day. Do we want to go for the mine?
I would say so.
I'd agree because honestly, who cares what it's day or night in a mine?
Yeah, honestly. So,
South of town.
I'm just gonna say because the book's in front of me, I'll take it
I
and
agree.
we all refreshed. Just easier. 1790 Willow Grove.
What?
The road leading south out of the village splits around a large grove of willow and oak trees. The villagers seem to treat the grove as a sort of park or meeting spot. There are almost always children playing among the trees or families enjoying the sun and the breeze. Day 4 or 5.
Today's day 4.
The road, if a wagon track that is simply 2 ruts running through the grass can be called that, runs south out of Dragonholt and marches past the mill, visible in the distance as a leaning stone tower. Beyond the mill, hills pile atop one another, purpling with distance as they reach towards the sky. Head to the mine to the south. Requires story P1 is marked.
Yeah.
It is. This encounter is complete. Read entry 1009 in the Silver Quest book. You trek south away from the Willow Grove and Dragonholt. After an hour hike, you make your way down into the rocky fissure that branches away from the main road. The path soon leads over a stone bridge that crosses an underground river. A few buildings stand before the mine's entrance in various states of disrepair. The mine's main entrance is blocked by a makeshift set of double doors barred from the inside by a heavy wooden beam. You recall the map Fior showed you and follow the river's edge to a thicket of brambles. Sliding between the rock face of the ravine and the hazardous thorns, you come across the concealed tunnel you were told about. A narrow and dark passage that falls deep into the stone, steeling yourself for the journey. You light a lantern and carefully climb down into the darkness. The passage twists along rough walls, speaking clearly of its emergency nature, and you pick your way along gingerly, careful to keep your light low. Finally, you come to the point where the passage joins a main hallway. Through the opening between the two passages is no more than a gap in the rock, besides a wooden support beam. Crinkle was like... You're about to squeeze through when you hear approaching footsteps and the voices of two goblins idly jabbering with one another as they patrol.
Whoa.
What do we do? Ambush the patrolling goblins? This option does not exhaust your activation token. Or hide until the patrol has passed.
I like
Ambush.
being sneaky.
You wait quietly until the goblins are just outside the side passage. You leap forward, just as one of them notices the light from your lantern.
Oof.
The sudden movement causes them both to shriek and scramble for their weapons.
Great.
We can either rush at the goblins and attack, blast them with a gout of flame, which requires Arcana. Sounds like a very bad decision.
Yeah.
Though we're not in the blast room yet.
Okay.
Or wait for them to attack you first.
I mean, these are gnomes, right?
You didn't
These are goblins.
exhaust your
Or
token.
goblins.
Right. So I'm
Oh, you didn't have to.
Yeah,
So
yeah.
I'm gonna rush and attack them.
You do that.
I'm gonna let you fight.
26
Two of the badasses.
2681.
I kick rocks on bandits. For the story.
You let out a savage growl that startles the goblins into dropping their spears.
Nice.
Then you lunge forward, grabbing their outstretched arms. Leaning your body into a spin, you pull the goblins off their feet into an arc, slamming them both roughly into the wall. The pair collapse as you release them. You're congratulating yourself on your combat maneuver when one of the wall's supports shifts slightly, groaning, and curtains of dust rain from the ceiling.
Oh boy. I knew it.
You freeze instinctively, but a moment later the dust stops. You make a note to be more careful in the future.
Yes, please.
Yeah.
Mark story point A2.
A2, oh god.
Not
Why?
A1.
That doesn't sound like a good thing to have to mark.
Read entry 1751. You follow the main passage along the route you recall from the map until you come to a large rectangular room. On the left is a vast stone trough. A pipe nearly an arm's length across emerges upward from the stone floor to deposit water in the trough, but no water is flowing now. A water wheel connects to a collection of gears that powers a smaller water wheel, presumably the one meant to pump the water up to the river above. Along the back wall is an iron walkway, elevated above the ground. Under the walkway, a large furnace is set into the wall, cold and dark. Above, along the hallway, are a series of levers and wheels. Option 1. Heat the furnace and get the pipeworks running again. Requires craftsmanship or reasoning. Option 2. Blindly attempt to activate the pipe system.
Ooh.
Option 3. Ignore the pipeworks and continue onward.
I am reasoning.
Yeah.
I have it this time. I promise. No reason to doubt me. You heft a shovel and begin loading coal from a nearby pile. Really? That has nothing to do with reasoning. You jerks!
You reason
I
with
would have
rocks.
made someone else do it.
You know what this thing needs? Some coal.
You find tinder in a small alcove behind the furnace, and soon the furnace is aglow with heat. With the furnace running, you take stock of the controls and mechanisms, testing a few to see how they function. You determine that the pipes are still in workable condition. Spinning a wheel, you hear a screech of long metal sliding against metal as the larger water screws begin to turn slowly.
Oh, my pet peeve.
You release one lever, and the screeching stops.
Oh.
And the screw builds up speed.
Oh.
Before long, a constant stream of water pours from the water screw to fill the trough. You pull another lever, and a smaller water screw begins to pull water from the trough and out of the mine. After making a few more minor adjustments to the speeds of the two screws, the water level in the stone trough is consistent, and you believe you've successfully activated the pipeworks. Mark story H6, time passes. You leave the pipeworks behind and descend a set of stairs into another tunnel. Just then, you hear an odd scraping sound. Carefully, you edge forward and look around a corner. A side passage opens up into a natural cavern, which is studded with small fungal growths that glow with a faint purple luminescence. To the side of the cavern, a lone goblin is leaning over, looking at something on the ground, and making small snorty giggles. Whatever it's doing doesn't seem to have noticed you. Should we draw our weapons and attack, sneak up behind it and subdue it quietly, or ignore him and sneak past? I'd sneak and kill.
Attack?
So straight draw and attack, or sneak up and subdue him?
Oh, that's a seduce.
Seduce.
Sure. Whatever you want
You
to
want to
do
look
there.
at something else?
Vanessa.
Let's quietly stick up on this person. Or goblin.
Quietly sneak up and seduce. Got it.
On 5 feet, you slink into the cavern like a shadow. You are only just out of reach when the creature suddenly stands and jabbers something to itself under its breath. The goblin reaches for the dagger at its belt. Do you have brawling skill or stealth?
You have neither?
I have neither.
Well,
You startle, having not expected the goblin to descend so suddenly. The creature hears your sharp intake and breath and whirls around, then stumbles backward in shock, stunned to see a stranger here.
Seduce. Seduce. Seduce.
seduce him!
There's an odd squishing sound and an explosion of purple spores erupts from the goblin's feet. Ugh.
That doesn't sound good.
It yelps, then slips, wagging its head on the wall and slumping into the ground unconscious. Wait, did he just hurt himself?
Seduce successful?
I guess my face scared him away. Suicidal?
He's like, so ugly.
Ooh. You examine what the goblin had been looking at. A patch of odd mushrooms, identical to the ones high up on the ceiling and walls of the cavern. The mushrooms in this patch are larger than the others. You pluck the largest ones to keep as sample. Yeah, I'm getting a mushroom.
Cool.
That is
Probably
my hobby.
some Arcana thing.
Leaving the cavern behind, you follow the main corridor further underground. After some time, you come across a thick iron door set into the side of the passageway, what you remember being marked as the blast works. Take a look inside or pass by the blast works. This option does not exhaust your action token.
Just give him the book.
Last works. Let's see what goes on. What makes it go boom? Remembering Fior's caution regarding the blastworks, you are careful to place your lantern just outside the doorway as you step inside. The room is square and no more than 4 paces across, with walls, floors, and ceilings lined with rough riveted iron. Nearly everything in the room is metal as well. Mixing stations for powder, supply shelves, crates for explosives,
Everything that goes boom.
He's drooling.
excepting only giant glass jars of raw materials marked with paper labels long faded. The lighting comes from hanging glass flasks full of luminescent purple mushrooms. Though time has dulled their light to a soft amethyst glow, making the room worryingly dim. Do we create our own explosives from the components?
I step outside the room.
Grab some explosives from the crates?
Oh, good choice.
Leave the explosives and moves on. Let's create some stuff.
Of course you would.
Requires alchemy skill. Got it. After searching the room with an alchemist's practiced eye, you manage to find each of the needed ingredients and set them up at a station with the strongest light source.
These things go boom.
Working with extreme care, you mix a new batch of blasting powder. You have enough fresh ingredients for only a single explosive.
Hey, look, what's that?
You find a dry shell made of paper and twine and fill it with blasting powder. Next, you create a blast core by packing blasting powder and a fuse in a tightly wrapped cylinder. You insert the blast core into the blasting powder in the shell and seal the container so that only the fuse protrudes. It might not be pretty, but this will surely produce a strong explosion if needed. Mark story point M7. You cautiously open the door to the main corridor and look down in confusion, realizing your lantern's missing.
Oh.
Standing in front of you is a goblin holding the lantern and examining it curiously. The creature looks up to see you standing in the doorway, and for a moment, neither of you move. Then it shrieks and drops the lantern to the ground where the glass shatters. Before you're completely aware of what just happened, the goblin is sprinting down the tunnel ahead of you with surprising speed. The lantern oil on the ground catches, and the fire soon spreads over the tunnel floor.
Oh no.
Oh boy.
Do we leap the flames and chase the goblin? Put out the fire before giving chase. Squelch the hazard with runic frost. Requires frost rune.
Where is this frost rune? I want it so much.
I'm not gonna lie. I don't know what to pick. If we leave this fire right outside the blasting room.
Everything blast.
Good.
Yeah, that needs to get handled.
The fire.
Who's doing it?
I can.
Okay.
Thinking quickly, you kick the lantern down the tunnel to remove at least one source of ignition from the pooled oil. Next, you untether your bedroll and throw it down to smother the remaining flames. As you stomp out the last embers, you hear a clatter and shriek. You look up to see that the fleeing goblin has tripped over the discarded lantern and is now struggling to his feet once more.
Shoot him.
You scoop up your bedroll, only slightly singe, and give chase. Read 4447.
That's some karmic justice there. He rolled a freaking 1. Flee!
You keep running, following the goblin to what appears to be a way station for mining carts, nearly empty except for a pair of carts sitting on a downward sloping track.
Yes.
Without slowing down, the goblin jumps into the front cart and releases the brake lever. The cart quickly picks up speed as it glides along the tracks, and its goblin rider lets out a self-satisfied cackle.
Cue Scooby-Doo chase music.
I know.
Either that or Indiana Jones.
That too. Yes.
I like Scooby-Doo better.
Yeah, okay.
You leap into the other cart, lift the brake, and are soon speeding along after the creature. The carts careen through the dimly lit mine tunnels, increasing in speed as the tracks take you deeper underground. The goblin takes notice of your rolling pursuit. You're gaining on it. The creature huffs a sizable rock from its cart and holds it overhead, ready to toss in your direction.
Shoot him.
Can we shoot him?
No. 3 choices. 1. Anticipate the goblin's throw and dodge. 2. Catch the hurled projectile.
Redirect us.
3. Blast a stone from the goblin's hand. Requires arcana or runes.
That would be you if you want to blast it.
I sort of want to catch it though.
Okay, then you catch it, because I ain't doing that either.
You're not doing anywhere.
I'm not doing either of those two, that's for sure.
It's just like,
I know.
boom.
Freaking combat for a reason.
You lower your hips and brace yourself to receive the hurled rock. The creature heaves and tosses the stone with all of its might. The projectile, roughly the size of your head, tumbles through the air straight towards your chest. If you have 2 or more of the following skills: athletics, brawling, or endurance. I have 1.
Wow!
That's fun.
Otherwise, read entry 4439.
You fucked up.
Oh, wait, you don't have any?
You don't have.
I don't
He
know.
has athletics.
Athletics.
I mean, it's a heavy rock.
You snatch the rock out of the air, or at least your hands collide with the rock in the air. The stone, however, continues on its path and slams hard into your chest, knocking the breath from your lungs.
You're very bad at this.
At least the pain in your arms indicates that your extremities have absorbed some of the blow. You lose 3 stamina. Just me.
Okay.
Say.
Yeah.
Heavy.
The goblin jeers at you and stoops to lift another rock. Where is it getting these rocks from?
Cart.
Mining cart.
Money cart.
This one, however, is too large for the creature, and try as it might, it cannot lift the stone slab.
Whoa.
Read entry 2472.
God. These goblins are very comical.
The passage opens into a much larger natural cavern, eroded by an underground river.
Ooh.
Over the centuries, the chamber is several paces across and extends to the right, far into the darkness. The track ahead crosses a bridge over a narrow channel of water before coming to an abrupt end at a buffer stop.
Ooh, boy.
As soon as the goblin's cart clears the bridge, the creature leaps out and tucks into a nimble roll before bouncing back to its feet and turning to face you. The abandoned cart crashes into the buffer stop with a cacophonous ringing of iron. Your cart crosses the bridge and is only a moment from colliding with the cart ahead and coming to a dead halt. There are 6 options. Throw the brake lever. Leap from the minecart to safety.
Oh, I would do that.
Use the cart's momentum to launch a flying assault. Tumble from the cart and fire at the goblin. Requires archery.
Now we can shoot him.
I really need to get endurance. Throw the cart at the goblin with your tremendous strength, which requires athletics and endurance.
It's still fucking moving!
I want to be able to do that, though. That sounds epic.
This really is some Scooby-Doo stuff.
Wow.
Finally, launch the minecart at the goblin with runic magic, which requires arcana and runes.
It's me anyways.
Yep.
I'm either jumping out or jumping into an attack. Because I'm a cat, I land on my feet.
Yes.
So...
I need to get endurance, damn it. This is like the second time that's bit me.
Mm-hmm.
Honestly,
And now, like, this thing.
I want to look cool because...
Meow.
Bard.
That's meow.
Put on a performance. So I'm going to use the cart's momentum to launch a flying assault. 3, 5...
I can't imagine what your claws will open.
Shake! You brace yourself for impact. Just as the cart collides with the blockade, you leap forward, allowing your momentum to launch you through the air straight towards the goblin. Time seems to slow around you. See, you gotta get that dramatic pose. Ching.
And then the cart just goes BAM!
The creature's face turns from triumph to abject horror. Of course, I don't have the brawling skill, though, so...
Yep.
1455. You shift and extend your legs forward to collide with the goblin's chest. The force of the impact sends the goblin flying backwards to slam against a heavy wooden support beam. Oh no. You land hard on your back on the rough stone floor. Only after a few moments of struggling are you able to pull yourself to your feet, your body aching. I don't like that, because I would land on my feet. You suck. But I lose 2 stamina. Whatever. Having dealt with the fleeing goblin, you take a better look at your surroundings. This larger tunnel was clearly carved by the underground river, but the back wall has been braced with sturdy wooden beams, and multiple mine shafts have been dug through the stone. To the left, the tunnel is blocked off by a dam made of tarred wood and fortified with iron bands. Water from beyond the dam spills into a channel that passes under the bridge you rode over in the minecart. To the right of the natural passage continues on until you can no longer see its walls through the darkness. Braced against one of the support beams, some 10 paces away, stands a rickety wooden shack that must have once served as a foreman's office. Story point H6, which I believe was us, turning on the pumps. Go to 6522. The dam bows in the middle from years of water pressure. There are gaps along the top of the dam that you take to the emergency overflow relief. The structure below the gaps is worn as if water flowed through for many years, but no water pours forth now. You can see a large pipe nearly as wide as your arm is long that extends up from the water beyond the dam and up through the stone ceiling. The piping shakes slightly, and you can hear the distant grinding of the Dunwar water screw, pulling water up through the mine. Thanks to your efforts at the pipeworks, you can see that you've relieved an immense pressure from the dam. 1511. Suddenly, you realize that 2 goblins have been standing a few paces away from you for some time. One of them holds a spear and gawks at its incapacitated comrade. You damn right that was a good show. The other carries a bow and stares wide-eyed in your direction. The goblin archer clutches an arrow in the makeshift quiver at its belt. The spear-wielding goblin turns its gaze towards you and rushes at you, shouting. Shall we brace ourselves to receive the charge, dodge the spear strike and counterattack, fire at the goblin archer with your own bow, which needs archery, and
shit.
nobody has thievery, right? So we can't pepper the archer with throwing knives.
Oh, shit.
But you did. But you have thievery.
No. I am no thief, sir. I'm streetwise. I know how to deal with thieves, but I am not a thief. Good day, sir.
You've drawn and knocked an arrow, and in an instant, the shaft flies and amazingly collides with the goblin's arrow in mid-air. For a moment, neither you nor your opponent can believe what was happened. If you have awareness, I do.
We all do.
3, 5, 2, 4.
Oh, good. You're not
Are
gonna
you
get
literally
stabbed.
shooting the arrow, ricocheting it into the spear guy?
Oh, that'd be fucking great.
Like, what the fuck?
My awareness was so good. Not only did I block your shot, he did.
Like, Archery's OP in this.
Serious.
She's so much more badass than you.
Yeah, I'll drop that.
Mister tried to catch a boulder.
She lives a long
I
time.
dealt with it alright.
You've caught a lot of things. You caught maces. You've caught boulders.
Other rocks.
You didn't call bandits.
Ooh.
Damn.
3,
Fighting words.
3, 5, 2, 4. The goblin archer seems to have found this event hilarious. It begins to laugh and point at the arrows on the ground and jabber something to its spear-wielding companion. You take advantage of the distraction and lose a second arrow at your opponent. The laughter is cut short with a wheeze as you score a direct hit, and the goblin archer collapses. Knock that sucker out of the park.
But he was like, dude, no way.
7380, the spear-wielding goblin is bearing down on you at a run. Its spear point is trained at your chest, and the goblin screams surprisingly loud for a creature its size. 3 options. Dodge the spear and counterattack. 2. Disarm the goblin and subdues it. Or 3. Command the goblin spear to backlash, requires rune skill.
You can do that? Runes are incredible.
So you want to read this?
Yeah, but I'm probably gonna try to disarm him.
Disarm him. Oh.
Put it on my track record. I killed 1 goblin.
You lower your body, preparing to move as the goblin strikes. Right before the creature thrusts, you shift to one side and step into the oncoming attack. If you have the brawling or military, read 5713.
You really need to get brawling.
Endurance, really. Endurance, I think.
Fair, I guess.
You grab the spear by the haft and push it away from yourself while slamming your palm into the goblin's elbow. You hear a crunch and twist the weapon out of the creature's hands. The goblin collides with you harmlessly. You spin and throw the creature to the ground, swinging its own weapon down to bludgeon the back of its head.
Oof.
The goblin jolts, then lies still.
Oh.
It was coming at you with a spear.
I shot it 1 shot. It's quick and easy.
Read entry 1420. Just as you think you might have found some peace, you hear a sound like oncoming thunder. After some time, the noise resolves into the sound of countless goblin feet flooding into the cavern.
Oh boy.
In moments, the chamber is filled with goblins flowing out of the tunnels and packing shoulder to shoulder in a ring surrounding you. We let them surround us? The goblins jeer and brandish weapons and torches. Though the air is filled with malice, none of them attack. The door of the foreman's office creaks open, and the goblin horde falls silent. In the doorway stands the single largest goblin you've ever seen. Easily half again the height of any other goblin, and as wide as he is tall. Rolls of fat cascading from his chin.
Goblin Kings, yep.
Unlike the other goblins who wears no more than worn leathers, this one is outfitted with a bewildering array of armor, all too big or too small for him.
Scavengers.
A fine breastplate has been deconstructed into sections and lashed awkwardly across his chest. What were once fine velvet trousers are being held up by a hard-working combination of a sturdy leather belt and suspenders. And a huge winged helmet sits atop his head, underneath which peek small, pig-like orange eyes. The vast goblin surveys the room with a superior glare and idly fingers an iridescent stone fragment on a cord around his neck. He steps out of the office in a manner that seems a passable attempt at looking regal, shutting the door behind him with a slap that shakes the whole of the structure. He then immediately ruins the grandeur of his exit by taking a final disgusting chomp of the rat on a stick he holds in his left hand, and tossing the remains dismissively to the side, eliciting a yelp from the unfortunate underling it hits. I am the great Splig, king of all goblins, he bellows, throwing his arms wide, spraying bits of half-chewed rat from his maw. Option 1, who? Option 2, you must leave this place. Option 3, oh great Splig, I come bearing a warning. Requires deception or performance.
You already finished?
Mine. Nope.
Didn't you?
No, we refreshed.
Right page, bottom left.
You gesture behind you towards the dam. Are you familiar with that, O King? It is a dam that keeps these caverns from being entirely flooded. You take a moment for this to sink in before you continue. You can see that the water spills forth, that it's because the dam can no longer hold back the water of the river. It's just a matter of time before all of this is underwater. At this, there is a hushed muttering amongst the goblins, who look up warily, and Splig grinds his teeth for a few seconds before barking. Silence! Bringing a hush back upon the chamber. The massive goblin squints at you for a moment before giving a rough laugh. I don't believe you, he grunts. Tell him a tale of a tragic flooding. Threaten him with explosives, which requires M7, which we've got. Or draw your weapon and prepare for battle. Boy, I guess what we're doing.
I don't know, explosives probably?
Threatening with explosive, probably?
Threatening with explosives.
Yeah, because of course, for once you have the explosives under control.
Yeah.
You take out the explosives from your pack and brandish it, causing Splig and many of the goblins to lean forward to get a better look.
Ooh.
Is it edible?
You explain that it's an explosive powerful enough for mining. You explain further that your only goal is to remove any living goblins from the mines. But you have no issue leaving dead ones behind. It takes another moment for the goblins to comprehend the precise nature of your threat. But when they do, they draw back in fear, hissing and pointing at the explosive. Splig stares at you while the tension builds, then puts up a hand for silence. Ptah! He spits. That could be dung wrapped in paper. I don't believe you. He turns up his chin and gives you a defiant glare.
Which one?
Never gonna leave any.
Light the fuse? Draw your weapon and prepare for battle.
You're the one holding it.
Light the fuse.
You're lighting the fuse.
You say we're
This
exploding
is
it.
not gonna go well.
You shrug and touch the end of the fuse to your lantern flame. A moment later, sparks dance on the end of the bomb's fuse, and Splig's eyes go wide. He opens his mouth and closes it, looks between you and the burning fuse, increasing in speed as it burns. Your heart is racing, but a confident smile is on your face, even as the flame hisses closer to the explosive powder.
So your character too.
Yeah.
Damn.
Finally,
Character just...
Finally, Splig cracks. Stop! He screeches. We will talk, yeah? Put out the fuse and let Splig talk. Toss explosive at Splig's feet and take cover. What is decision time?
I would talk.
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 I don't talk, I would have drawn my weapons long ago.
Splig waves his arms grandly, and there's a sudden hubbub of rustling and shoving as all the goblins part to allow their leader to approach you. Splig walks up, leans close to you, and smiles. You have a good point. I can tell you're smart. And to tell you the truth, I was just thinking of leaving this place. It's boring, and the rats are starting to run out. But, and this is the important part, he pokes you in the chest with one meaty finger. The king of all goblins can't leave because someone asked him to, yeah? So we gotta fight. You open your mouth to protest, and he shakes his head quickly, sending the big winged helmet wobbling side to side, and leans in closer. Reflexively, you hold your breath. Not a real fight, just play fighting. Show style. Show this lot. He gestures at all the goblins. They were forced. It was honor. Yeah. You're iffy of this idea, but you nod begrudgingly. Splig laughs, leaning mercifully back. Fight time, he declares, and he holds up his hands to the shrill cheers of his cohorts. He holds out a meaty hand, and the crowd parts for 3 goblins carrying a massive oaken club. Splig takes it from them with satisfaction, patting its gnarled surface as they scurry away. You make a show of stretching, cracking your knuckles.
Oh.
Basically, limbering up for a fight, with a bit of subtle bravado thrown in. Splig attempts to stretch for a few embarrassing moments, huffing and groaning, and then gives up, acting as if he'd done exactly as he'd meant to. You each refresh your activation tokens.
Oh, well.
You decide to make this fate combat official. Splig, you declare, I challenge you to combat for the fate of these caverns. If I win, you and your people will leave. Splig laughs loudly. Big words, he bellows. Shall we give the goblin flunkies a show? Let the giant goblin wear himself out? Or make a show of your ranged expertise? I want to give him a show. I gotta put on a performance when I get the chance.
I was wanting to have something about dueling there. I was like, no, dueling didn't come up. Dang it.
God damn it.
Put yourself into this.
You nod firmly at Splig and draw your weapon. If a good show is what's required for him and his goblins to leave, you're ready for it. You leap forward, swinging your weapon down and a nice telegraphed arc, almost lazily. Splig blocks and the attack and counterattacks faster than you imagine someone of his size could, especially with such a heavy club. You pull backwards, but just a half second too slowly. The tip of the club impacts hard with your shoulder, and you reflexively cry out in painful shock. Lose 4 stamina.
Whoa.
Poor? Woo.
Yeah, I know. Shaking out your arm, which you can already feel going a bit stiff, you take a moment to reevaluate the tactic to use against Splig. You may be play fighting, but he obviously isn't such a pushover that you need to make this easy for him.
No more practice.
You step up your combat game. You and Splig match blow to blow, to boots, to cheers of assembled goblin horde.
We have Garfield versus Fat Goblin.
Yeah, baby. Eventually, Splig stumbles after a failed attack, and you see an ideal opening to end this. Swinging towards him, you force the large goblin into a backward stumble, then change the strike into a feint, shooting out your right leg in a powerful kick, which firmly catches Splig in his vast stomach and sends him sprawling. You lean over and press your voice into a somewhat theatrical sotto voice, ensuring the surrounding throng cannot hear. A deal is a deal, O king. You mean to continue, but are well and truly startled as the giant goblin grabs your leg and with a sudden roar throws you aside. You lose 3 more stamina. Motherfucker.
You expected him to honor his word as a goblin?
Right? Yeah. Or as people.
But as a performer, you're supposed to.
He ain't performing.
You're able to roll back to your feet without much of an issue. Of course, I'm a cat. But when you rise, you see Splig getting to his feet as well, his hideous face red with rage and wounded pride. A long silence stretches out as you and a massive goblin regard each other carefully, trying to seek out the correct next step. The silence around you is broken by a soft whisper, one goblin chanting, Splig, Splig, Splig. over and over, joined by more and more of them until the room shivers with the noise, carried by so many shrill, raspy voices. You shift and hold your weapon tighter, growing more wary by the moment, feeling the hairs on your back as your neck stand up on end for the chanting echoes it produces in the vastness of the cave. You see Splig surveying the assembling goblins. His expression slowly morphed from frustrated rage into a dark, sinister smile. Finally, he turns his gaze to yours. You hear that? How my loyal subjects support me? My subjects! He roars, and the goblins around you unleash a series of cheers in return, causing you to reflexively tense for a fight.
48-41.
I put on a good show, but that bastard.
Yeah. Goblins.
Fuck him up.
You produce your lightning rune from a hidden pocket and grip it tightly. Double check, I didn't need a special thing. No, just the rune skill. Okay. You can feel the energy within the shard building, and your eyes begin to grow with unnatural light. With a strange shout, you unleash a terrifying bolt of lightning that arcs from your arm to Splig's winged helm and travels down through his body. With a strangled scream, the massive goblin takes 2 steps forward, somehow enduring the power of the rune shard. You call deeper into the shard's well of raw magic. A burst of electricity explodes from every fiber of your being, lightning arcing not only to Splig, but swatting down smaller goblins left and right.
Ooh.
Just don't touch me, I'm already down.
At last, the king of all goblins staggers and falls, and you rein in the shard's magic. You collapse to your hands and knees, gasping at your chest and panting. A moment, 2 moments, pass before you feel your heart begin to beat once more. You glance up and see that Splig is likewise struggling. I lose 3 stamina for that. Still worth it.
So worth it. So worth it.
You and Splig take a moment to reassess the situation. Smaller goblins gather around you, but you notice that some are sneaking away up the tunnel to the mine's entrance. Splig doesn't seem to have noticed his minions abandoning him. He is too busy watching you and waiting for you to make the next move. Press the Goblin King back with a ferocious charge. Trick Splig into hurting himself. Don't let the giant goblin get any closer. Requires archery. Perform a direct assault with runic fire. Requires arcana skill.
Could either one.
Don't do fire.
Let's do archery.
Yep.
8418. You knock an arrow and fire. The giant goblin blocks the shaft with his great club and admires a new addition to his stolen accoutrements. A volley of several more arrows follows, shattering against the stone floor at Splig's feet or striking the round oaf. I do have devotion, therefore 2216.
Nice.
As expected, the original block must have been a fluke. Your arrows fly true and sink into stolen armor and goblin flesh. Splig cries out in pain and flails in a blind panic. He turns to flee and finds himself backed against the foreman's office. The large goblin then attempts to leap through the very small window of the shack, managing only to get himself stuck and destroying the measly support the wall gave the structure. Within moments, the entire shack collapsed on top of him. A moment later, Splig appears from out of the wreckage, bloodied, bruised, and all bloodlust gone from his half-unfocused eyes. Shine on eyes. He staggers forward and plops the winged helmet back on his head. Smaller goblins gather around him, jabbering to one another. Splig kicks a bit of rubble aside and reaches down to lift his massive club. He hefts it and points it in your direction. His beady eyes shadowed by his oversized helmet. Then, without a word, he breaks into a dead sprint toward the bridge over the water channel and soon vanishes up the tunnel, heading toward the mine's entrance. A panic follows, with countless goblins abandoning their weapons and their reason to scramble over one another and follow their cowardly leader. Within a few moments, you are alone in the empty mine, only the echoes of screaming goblins in the halls above and discarded makeshift spears and clubs littering the ground as evidence that these halls were home to a goblin horde. You pick up through the leavings, not expecting much. However, under a plank from a forum's office, you find a shard of iridescent crystal engraved with an ancient symbol. Ooh, I gained a war rune, item L.
War rune. We can use that for a weapon or something, right?
Very last
Jeez,
one.
he did not go down easy.
Not until Ardric kicks his butt. 9995. It's a long walk back to the beginning of the mine, but you take comfort in the fact that you don't have to be wary of any goblin ambushes. You opt to avoid the hidden passage you entered by and instead head to the main entrance. Walking past an abandoned guard post and several makeshift wooden barriers, you lift the wooden beam that bars your path, drop it to one side, and throw open the doors. The walk back to Dragonholt will be short, and then you can deliver the good news to Fiore. This quest is complete. Re-entry 4832 in the Dragonholt book.
Right.
Woo! We did it, guys. We did it. You find your step light as you descend from the hills and past the mill on your way back into Dragonholt. Fiore's harried apprentice Briel meets you on the road and leads you straight back to his mistress. "You're back," says Fiore, setting aside a sheaf of yellowing papers. "Tell me everything." You summarize your adventure in the mine, being sure to highlight the involvement of Splig, and end by declaring the claim free of goblins and ready to resume operations. "Splig, eh?" says Fiore. "Is that a name I should know?" She shakes her head, fingering the silver chain around her neck. "Well, good work. I had a feeling I could count on you." She gestures to her apprentice, who placed an iron strong box on the table beside her. She unlocks it and removes a heavy felt bag that clings and clanks as she presses it into her hands. "We had a bargain, and I'm a woman of my word." She snatches up her crutch and stands. "Rio Bazarth," she calls. Then she turns to you. "I'd very much like to sit around and toast your victory, but apparently I have a lot of work to do getting that mine up and running again." She grins and stomp drags away. You gain 150 gold. Mark 2 progress in heroism,
Sweet.
1 progress in combat training,
Nice.
So close.
and 1 progress in physical training. Mark story point U2. 2 time passes.
Oh, we still have time today.
Yeah.
Wow. That was very fast.
This encounter is complete. Woo!
Ooh. Right.
I
Gabe,
have
come up.
one thing to add.
Going.
My
The runic thing.
Well, I wanted to mention that I noticed strange mushroom. Instead of choosing a location in the village, you can eat this strange mushroom by reading entry 7549.
She's gonna go on a trip.
Oh, shit.
I'm willing.
Well, first off, it's your turn.
Yes.
What do you want to do in the village?
I don't know if you guys want me to do this before the day ends today or
I think that's a cool idea.
like.
We don't exactly have many other plans in the town right
See,
now.
it is market day.
We can go to the market.
Still market day?
It is market day, but it's night. The market would be mostly closed.
Not necessarily.
I mean, we can go find for a night market. It's up to you. Going where you going?
Let's check out the market, because if we don't, then no time passes. So
5,500.
500. Never seen the market street so crowded, thronged with people and animals and carts inching along. Merchants shout themselves hoarse, hawking their wares, while customers inspect their goods. Travelers wander the street, gawking at the throngs of people, and 2 guards in Fairfax light livery walk a slow and purposeful patrol. You recognize several of the crops for sale as being from the recent harvest: bushels of round red beans,
Oh yeah.
sheafs of golden grain, and baskets piled high with red apples. One end of the row seems to be dominated by carts piled high with black and white wool and thronged with customers haggling so loudly it seems a fight might break out at any moment.
One more fight. Come on.
Fight.
A round-faced human woman with a smile and a gaily embroidered dress displays Blankets, coats, dresses, and other clothes, all worked in similar bright colors. A short human man with a thick mustache and a striped turban has placed his cart at the end of the row. The sign hanging from his wagons reads, Al Emerald's Elixirs. He is holding aloft one bottle called liquids after another and proclaiming their efficacy in a strong, strangely accented voice. Step right up, calls a red-haired human man, and with white at his temples. He gestures with a curved cane as if to snag a passing sheep at his stall. Come see what my brother and I have in store for you. You have my personal guarantee you'll never see anything like it. My brother, also red-haired, but somewhat younger, takes up his patter with the ease of long practice. Oh, that was me reading. That's right, brother of mine. Our wares are of a kind never to be equaled. You cannot afford to pass this chance by, folks. Although their market stall is very well decorated and laid out, you cannot seem to make out what precisely this dynamic duo is selling. Not far from the wool's merchants, a brown-furred catfolk woman in a red tunic argues with a pinch-faced human woman. The human stall is laden with dried and salted fish. The catfolk's tufted ears are pointed back, and her tail swishing with angry vigor. Brow Elixirs? Browse the wares of the excitable duo. Approach the catfolk in red. Attempt to steal some coins. Leave the market.
I'd do the duo or the catfolk if it was me.
Catfolk! 9312.
Curiosity kills the cat.
The catfolk woman growls slightly as you approach. She's holding something in her hands. A mask, fashioned from wood and leather and lacquered green. She leans forward, offering it to the fishmonger. Please, she yowls. This is a special mask. Blessed by the spirits. It is very valuable. I must have 2 baskets of fish. I don't care if the mask belonged to King Darkwyn himself, scoffs the fishmonger. I sell these fish for money. Do you hear me? This isn't a swap meet. Mark story point D1. If story point V5 is marked,
No.
No. Sorry,
No,
V6.
Otherwise, read 3988. You step closer to the ongoing dispute, and the fishmonger promptly attempts to rope you in on her side. Can you believe this furball? She complains. Oh, it's a woman.
Oh, see, it's not just me.
She wants over 100 pounds fish, but will she pay for it? No. The woman stops her hand on the weathered boat that serves as her countertop and points at a finger at the catfolk. Not only that, she seems to think she can just help herself to my stock. I was only pointing out my village needs the fish more than you do, says the catfolk woman with a twitch of her tail. And anyway, I'm offering you a very fair trade. This mask is very useful and beautiful. But it's not 60 gold coins, now is it? Asked the fishmonger. That's the price, and that's what you'll need if you want your 2 barrels of salted salmon, she sniffs. Do you have any idea how hard it is even to find salmon this far from the ocean? What is the ocean? Asked the catwoman. Her eyes narrow and her tail lashes. Are you making a joke of me? The human groans and turns to you. I give up. You talk to her. If you are a catfolk race, or you have an empathy skill, read 7334.
Do you have empathy?
But it's
No,
still
yeah.
Meow. Hello.
Yeah.
Hello.
After a few placating words, you manage to get the catfolk woman calmed down sufficiently to at least get her name out of her. I'm Heather, she says, and I am not some stupid rube to be taken advantage of. I just don't know very much about these human customs. Leaving the question of the ocean aside for the moment, you explain that in human society it's customary to assign value to discs of shiny metal and use those to mediate exchanges of goods and services. Heather nods slowly, her ears twitching as she absorbs what you've said. Then I will need to find some of my own shiny metal discs. She looks down at the lacquered green mask in her hands and flattens her ears against her head. Perhaps this is worth your 60 gold coins? she says to the merchant, and you can exchange it for the coins you want. Perhaps it's worth 30 coins, and you can sell it somewhere. And bring me the coins, says the fishmonger. I don't barter. I want cold, hard currency.
Ish.
Offer to buy the mask from Heather. Pay the merchant for the food Heather wants. Leave the two of them to work it out themselves.
We have money to spare.
I about to say, the mask sounds interesting.
We are a bit rich, and it is intriguing.
I mean, yeah, trading off for a mask.
Just wonder what we can get the mask for.
Yeah. I'll offer to buy the mask from Heather. 82.20. You offer to buy the mask from Heather, and she steps back, clutching the mask to her chest. What? No, this mask is precious to me.
Oh.
And anyway, I need to trade it for the food this human refused to give me.
Oh my god.
I won't trade it for food, you lunatic, shouts the fishmonger.
What?
But I'll sell you fish for coins. Take the damn deal. Oh, says the catfolk woman. I think I understand. She holds the mask towards you, and so you can take a better look. It seems like a face composed of leaves and plants, fashioned from wood and leather. Its green liqueur is vibrant and glossy.
Glossy, okay.
Offer her only a small amount, 20. Pay her a moderate amount, 35. Pay her handsomely for the mask, 60. Refuse to buy the mask and leave.
I feel like 60 so that she could buy her fishes.
We good right now.
How nice we feeling?
Yeah.
I know the Warforged blade was like 100.
Oh.
The War Rune blade.
50.
So are we feeling nice to catfolk, or are we being average?
Nicer we are.
could
I
be-
want to further this relationship because catfolk are very hard to come by. Apparently.
Yeah, we could build relationship with her.
Okay.
You give Heather the coins. She holds them in her hand for a long moment, feeling the weight, and then then surrenders the mask. Now everyone's happy, says the fishmonger as she counts out the coins and slides them into the leather
Goes
envelope.
and buys from another food stall.
Oh my goodness.
Oh man, I would.
Right?
Commerce at its best. She bustles about in the back of her
that's
stall
right.
for a moment, then delivers 2 heavy casks. You help Heather carry the 2 casks as far as the dragon statues that mark the edge of town, then set them down. Thank you for your help, she says. I will have to see about finding my own coins if I'm going to do any more trading with humans. Before you can ask how she's going to carry both casks to the forest of her own, 3 more Hirinks, that's the name of them, emerge from the shadows of the orchard, stalking forward on silent cat feet. They nod their heads gravely to you, and then the 4 of them heft the heavy barrels of fish and vanish into the trees.
Oh,
You gain the spirit mask, item M.
fun.
Mark 1 progress in heroism and progress 1 progress in social practice. Time passes and the encounter is complete. Heroism and progress.
Heroism, progress, and time. And then someone's gonna go do shrooms.
How we doing on time? Is that our last bit?
It'll be the last bit of time.
Okay.
So.
Alright, 7549. The mushroom tastes like bitter, chalky earth, and you wonder as you force the last bite down your throat. Wow. Why you thought this was a good idea. You're just rinsing the taste from your mouth with water when the poison takes hold.
Boy.
Like, guys, it was nice knowing you. It comes over you like a rushing wind, knocking you to your knees and knifing through your gut like a wound. But the pain only lasts an instant, and the wind continues to roar, tearing you from the ground and from your body, scattering you like autumn leaves across all of Eventide Forest. You feel yourself gathered up by an infinitely patient force and placed gently back inside yourself. So a spirit got into me. Got it. After a while, the wind dies down, and you find yourself lying on your back in the middle of the village green. I went places.
She had an interesting trip.
Oh, the cloud's really pretty today.
So great. A few passing villagers give you odd looks, but you appear to be unharmed. In fact, you feel somehow larger than yourself. You lose 1 strange mushroom, the item. I mean, it's in my system now. Mark a total of 3 progress divided as you choose among academic study, combat training, and physical training, social practice, and or spiritual meditation.
Ooh.
Let's finish that combat training so somebody can learn to brawl or endure.
Endure.
Time passes, the counter complete.
So we get to do 3 however we please.
Great.
Time passes as well, so this will be the end of the day. Endurance is physical.
Yeah.
Are you specific on endurance?
That'd be nice if people want to, but I'm open to...
So how about we just finish combat and physical both?
Okay.
Yep.
Yeah.
Stop putting this through effort. That's what this deal is. Yeah? Yeah? Okay.
So what combat does?
So, we've finished spiritual combat and physical training, which all of them are that basically the same idea. You can learn any of the following skills by any time by paying 1 experience point per skill. So for spiritual, we have awareness, devotion, or willpower. For combat training, we have archery, brawling, dueling, or military. And for physical training, we have agility, athletics, endurance, or stealth.
I don't know.
I use 1 of my experience for endurance.
And this can be done anytime. It doesn't have to be right now.
Yeah, it can be done anytime. All right, so the day is over. 15:01. You climb up to your room and prepare for bed. Out the windows, you can still see sparks and light from the bonfire on the village green.
Oh.
It's always there, apparently, but we never get to hear about it.
The bonfire we never see.
Well, she might have seen it in that trip. We don't know.
Quick, he's coming. Hey,
I did
put it
like
up.
Village Green.
It's not a bonfire, it's on fire.
I'm surprised I didn't caught myself on fire.
It seems as if the village is settling down to sleep with a smile on its face. You sleep hard and deeply, and if you dream, you don't remember it. You each recover half of your maximum stamina, refresh your activation token, and this chapter of the story ends here. When you're ready to begin the next chapter, read 6452.
Sounds good. Hope you guys enjoyed that wild trip through the caves and into the spiritualness that the mushrooms took us.
Had a minecart race, made some bombs.
Yeah. I had a lot of fun performing. None of it worked.
He tried. Tough crowd.
Hey, I did some cool shit.
I mostly caught a rock.
I think it caught you.
It was a mutual catching.
Stop swaddling the rock and move on with us.
It's my rock.
We had fun doing it. I hope you had fun watching. And remember to drink responsibly because
We won't!